Hello and welcome along to part 3 of this F1 Manager 2022 career with me, Daniel. We're back with Williams Racing to go through our second race weekend. It's the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix at Jeddah. And after disappointment in Bahrain, after some lessons learned, after some disappointments, and after a couple of little upgrades to the car, we are on our way to the second weekend, hoping to get away from the back of the grid. We've also got a decision to make driver-wise. Latifi 30 seconds behind the field last week. If we can't get any better this weekend, we are going to start looking for scouting a replacement. So if you're looking forward to all of that and seeing how we get on, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for regular content from this series as well as daily FM22 content. I hope you're enjoying the game as much as I am. I hope you're getting better results than I am, with all the key links to other playlists up in the eye above and down in the description below. But thank you very much for coming along as we go to race weekend number 2. Surely we can't do any worse than last time. With an upgrade to Albon's car, can we at least make him half competitive? Let's go and see. We've reached practice day. It is time to go to the inbox for some news. We've got a race preview for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. I don't think we need to worry about who's leading the Constructors' Championship. And we've also got our preview there. Let's go to race preparation. So, circuit info is all there. Performance targets. Anything mildly reasonable and realistic this time? 2 drivers, minimum qualifying position of 15th. Well, that's not going to happen because Latifi is about a million miles behind. Race targets. Incentives are set by your sponsors. What is it? Fastest lap? You've got to be joking. Oh, that's scandalous. And in hot streak targets, well, that's not going to happen either. I cannot believe that they genuinely think we're going to get fastest lap. Unless it rains for 50 odd laps and then we just get it right on the pit stop, I'm not sure that can happen. So everything else is there. There is one new part on Albon's car. We saw that at the end of last episode. And we've got a big decision to make on Latifi. This race is literally to save his seat. So let's go to the race weekend in Jeddah. And here we go to Saudi Arabia, one of the fastest circuits on the calendar, which does not bode well for our car. If we have a look at it, it is one of the more modern F1 circuits, not the easiest to overtake, and I don't think we're going to have to worry about it. It's whether we can get in front of a couple and hold cars up, isn't it? Let's be honest. So let's go through, see if Albon can get used to his new car parts, see if they can get used to the track. Fingers crossed, practice 1 goes well. We're not going to take part in it. We're going to simulate to qualifying as we did last weekend. I don't want to get too hands-on with the practice because as inexperienced as we are, I think the engineers will probably do a better job. So through to qualifying, are we going to be 19th and 20th in practice, or is Albon's part going to make a big difference? Let's hope so, because we need some inspiration here. 3 practice sessions completed. Let's see how we've got on. I would imagine not too well. We go into qualifying. Of course, it's dry weather. We're not expecting rain out here. But we're hoping that we can just find a little bit of improvement. And maybe Latifi can produce that performance we've been waiting for. So let's see, as we go through to qualifying day, the practice 3 results, which are... We're all the way down at the bottom. We'd expect that. Right, okay. Albon and Latifi are the bottom 2. Latifi's half a second off again, his best lap. Albon is very close to Stroll and Vettel, so that's fair enough. And of course, Albon finished above Stroll in the last race. But we are a country mile behind with Latifi. So after this weekend, yeah, I think we're looking for someone new, to be honest. There is a grid penalty exclamation, but it's not showing on any of the drivers. So unfortunately, we've not even got help from that. Let's look at the track acclimatization, 100% each. Latifi's completely confident with the car parts, but not the setup. Albon even less so on both fronts, but he is the better driver and is still getting the better out of the car. So let's continue through to qualifying. I think it's going to be another long weekend. We know the cut-off position is 15th. I don't think we're going to be doing any better than that. In terms of the run plan, I am going to give Latifi a 2-lap load because I think he might just be able to use 1 set of tyres, go round at the start, and maybe we'll just save the extra pair for him because I think that's the better option. He's not going to finish above 20th anyway. Albon, we're going to try and cut it a bit finer this time. Get him a late lap towards the end of the session. And hopefully he can just produce a bit of a miracle. So 2 flying laps for him. We're ready with the rest of it to go as we were. Into qualifying for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Let's manage qualifying 1. I wonder how long it'll be before we finally get to manage a session in Q2. Right, into qualifying. We're just seeing which cars are coming out early doors, and the simple answer is not many. So I'm going to send out Latifi for his 2 laps, and we'll see how he gets on. We'll do the same with him at the end as well, and Albon will wait a little bit longer for. So out he goes. We're going to go to time 16 because we don't need to see his outlap, and then we'll come back to see how he's getting on in his flying one. And we're going to leave Albon right to the end of the session, I think. Is he onto his flying lap yet, Latifi? Let's go and have a quick look. He is. Yes, he is. He's on his flying lap. So at the same time, we're going to send out Albon for his first lap. He's going to do 2 throughout this session as Latifi is flying round. It's a quick circuit, so we would expect it to look good. The problem is, compared to the rest of the teams, I don't think it's going to be great. We're on ×2 pace here. He's chasing down another car, which will hopefully let him through. It has done. So hopefully that hasn't held him up too much. We've got Ricciardo's time as a benchmark. McLaren have been the 3rd or 4th slowest team so far. So how's he going to compare? Wow, he's a 2.5 off that. He's got another flying lap to go, of course. He's set up for 2. So unfortunately, it's not looking particularly good at the minute. Where will Albon go? He is. Where are you, Albon? There's a few slower than Latifi, to be fair. I might have spoken too soon because Albon is a second quicker than Latifi, which looks great. And Vettel's up there as well. So I wonder why some of the other cars are so much slower. Because clearly, there is more performance in the track. Vettel's the next slowest car. Or the Aston Martin, I should say, is the quicker driver in them. But hopefully that means Albon can maybe sneak a position or 2. Let's get through to the last 6 or 7 minutes. And we'll get Albon out for a late lap as well. Latifi, I'm probably just going to leave at that. We'll see how it pans out as we go along. I mean, there's no harm really in sending him out for 2 more laps, is there, to be honest? So let's have a look at Latifi. We'll reconfigure and he can go out on track. Once he's reconfigured, that is, which is taking a few seconds out of the timings. Albon at the moment doesn't look too bad, but all of those other cars will improve. The one positive I'm taking at the moment is he's 3 tenths ahead of Stroll. And that might be what the upgrade has done for us, which will at least give him a slight advantage at the start of a race. So let's send out Latifi, see what he can get done. And then we'll give it another minute or 2. Probably need about 4.5 to go before we send out Albon. So let's go and reconfigure the car for him, just so we're ready to send him as soon as the time comes. We will skip ahead a little bit now. I'm not going to follow Latifi's lap too closely. We'll get down to the final 5, see when other cars start to come out. And we're just going to try and time it right. So if we can, we're going to wait till about 3 minutes to go with Albon. So you can see there's not many out on track at the moment. We're going to start to see that change. So let's see if we can get the timing right. Albon, 3 minutes to go. Do we stick or twist? Right, there's a couple of cars going here. We've got to be careful. Let's give it a few seconds. Try and find a gap for him. Let's go, Albon. Oh, another car's come out as well. We were about 5 seconds too late there, although we could be at the back of the train, so it could end up working out for us. Latifi, in the chaos that we've just seen there, I've missed Latifi go 15th. Hang on a minute. I've done the lad a disservice. He's only a 10th behind Albon's first lap. Albon is now exiting the pit lane right at the back of the queue. I hope he's got time to get round there, because if he does, this could be an interesting finish. We've either timed it brilliantly or atrociously. Albon's got about 4 behind him, and he has got a little bit of space, so we'll see how he goes. Latifi's on his second flying lap. I just sort of chucked him out for 2 because I didn't have faith in him. And he might well have delivered something here. So let's see how he finishes the lap. He's finished the lap. He hasn't improved. So unfortunately, nothing for Latifi. Albon is the man that we rest our hopes on now. So let's go and skip ahead, see how he gets on. We don't need to make any adjustments. Albon is down to 16th. Everyone's going to improve. And look at that. Look at that. He finishes 7 1,000ths behind Stroll. And Latifi wasn't a mile away, in fairness. If we get the classified times up, just so you can see. That is agonising. Now, there's positives and negatives. Latifi's 4 tenths off again. He's got to go. I think he's got to go. We'll see how the race unfolds, but I'm pretty set in stone there. Albon is less than half a tenth away from being bigger than Vettel. The rest of the field is miles clear, but if we can get above Aston Martin, that would be a good goal for the first part of the season. Hopefully on race day with race pace, maybe he'll be able to give him a challenge. Let's continue after that. We don't need to worry about the rest of the sessions. We'll go straight through to race day in Jeddah. Fingers crossed, have a better race than last time. Through to a dry Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Let's decide our strategies for the races. So for Latifi, I think we're going to go for the one stop. Just try and keep him on track. He's consistent. Hopefully he'll be all right. What is the recommended race time? So strategy C is the quickest. Strategy B and A, what's the difference really? Starting on the mediums. I think we'll start mediums with Albon, start hards with Latifi. So Latifi is going to go for that strategy. And for Albon, we are going to go for starting on the mediums to be that little bit quicker. And then we'll move on to the hards. One stop race. Hopefully some of the others gamble on too. That's the only way I see us getting by, if I'm being honest. So let's go through to race day. Albon, you've got to deliver. Here we go then. It is the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It is a massive opportunity for us to be closer this time. Latifi might be driving his last race for us. Certainly the last one before we decide to replace him. As the lights go out and at the back of the field, we can't really see much because we're miles behind. So hopefully Albon can deliver. Hopefully Latifi can stay a little closer this time. As Albon's attacking down the outside of one of the Aston Martins. Beats him into turn 2, does he, Lance Stroll? I'm not sure. No, he's close. He's neck and neck. Let's go over to Albon. It's a close trail there. Nice attempt, you'll get him next time. So didn't quite work out. Let's see what condition we're in at the minute. Do we even put him on the attack, maybe? I feel like perhaps that's the route. Do we go to overtake mode? Early doors. Pace will get him to be aggressive. And we'll just see if we can get him past, because I feel it's our best chance. We won't give it too much longer. We'll give him a couple of laps maybe to get by. And then if he can't get the job done, we probably just have to sit in. But Stroll is clearly slower than the rest of the field ahead of him. So it is a real opportunity for us to get Albon past. Latifi's not doing much to help. And we mentioned it is a tough circuit to overtake. You can see how thin the racetrack is. He's gone down the inside there. Can he make it on the straight? Oh, it's before DRS is enabled as well. And if anything, it's Latifi now chasing Albon. That would have been an absolute disaster for us. So I think now, given the gap, we probably just have to sit in. So we're going to go to standard. And we're going to go back to neutral there. Let's just go and enjoy a few laps, shall we? Let's get through, skip to plus 16. And we'll see if he gets any closer to Lance Stroll. Seems to be managing the gap at about a second. And DRS now enabled. We get that warning again. Let's just sit in until the first pit stop. Again, no incidents at the start of the race. Does seem to be a pattern from what we've seen so far. None of those race incidences in turn 1. None of those early ones at the start off the grid. It seems to be very clean racing. And again, look at Latifi. Albon's got himself above Stroll. Excellent work. But Latifi, we'll watch the Albon overtake. But Latifi's miles behind again. So Stroll's going down the inside. Albon goes round the outside of him. It's a really good move. Brakes late, gets round comfortably, and then manages to hold the position too. Really good work from Albon. I'm delighted with his performances so far. The garage are celebrating. I don't think we need that animation every time we go up to 18th. And Stroll is of course closing down now, and he might overtake at some point. Albon's overtaken Vettel. What's going on? He's overtaken Stroll again, then he's overtaken Vettel. So Albon goes through again on Stroll, and he's since got past Vettel too. I'm interested to see that one, because he's up in 17th place. Unless Vettel made a mistake. But we're 9 laps in, there's been no incident, and that's what we need to get in the top 15, is a couple of drivers out and us to stay consistent. And what we could really do with, as Vettel goes past again, is Latifi to just compete. Vettel overtakes Albon, we're not going to worry about that. I can't actually remember what lap we were due in, sorry. Albon's overtaken Stroll again. Mick Schumacher is in the pits. Let me just see when the pit stop was due. Pit window in 3 laps. So we're not going to worry just yet. We're on lap 13 of 50. We don't want to come in early if we can avoid it. The tyres, 66%. They're still in pretty good nick. So let's just carry on as we were. Albon is above Stroll again. It's a little battle there between those two. You've got a worse driver in a better car and a better driver in a worse car going head to head. And what that means is we've got to think about pits now because Albon is into his pit window. Latifi overtakes Schumacher. That must have been in the pits. Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, it is. And he's been overtaken again since. So the pit window is active for Albon. How are the tyres looking at the moment? Because if we can keep him on the mediums for longer, I'd rather do that. And at the moment, 59% they seem fine. So I'm just going to leave them for a little while now. I'd rather finish the race stronger if we're able to. So let's just skip through for a couple more laps. See if Albon can manage those tyres. Or make the judgment after. Because at the moment, he's closing down other people. He's doing really well. Ah, right. So I didn't see that before. If you don't pit, this is the optimal lap. So we're going to open pit options. And we're going to go to the hard tyre, which was planned. I asked that question last time, didn't I? If I wait, will it just do that for me? So we're going to pit this lap. Move on to the hards. And that's Albon done for the race then. He's done really well in that first stint. Vettel's come in a lap earlier. He's already above Schumacher, who's pitted. And he's stayed well clear of Latifi and Stroll. It's just whether he can do that again after the pit stop. Will he come out behind or ahead of Stroll? We'll wait and see in a moment. But let's skip ahead. Is there going to be an incident at some point? These have been very quiet races. Albon's in the pit. He comes out behind. About half a second behind Stroll. Oh, we could have done it one lap earlier. But he's got above him again. Fair play. Albon has done a brilliant job on Lance Stroll. He's definitely the better driver. And he's really competing well. Latifi's still up in 17th as Albon drops back behind again. And Albon goes back in front. It continues to happen. Latifi's only 6 seconds ahead of Albon, despite the fact that he hasn't had a pit stop yet. It's pretty embarrassing. Latifi's overtaken Vettel and then very swiftly been overtaken again. But again, been a very quiet half a race in terms of instances. Not much going on. Nobody out. All 20 cars going to finish every time. Does seem a little bit off that, to be honest, if we're looking at realism from the game. Stroll overtakes Albon again, and we are in to the pit window. So we're going to keep an eye on that for Latifi. And when we get to the optimum lap, we'll then take the pit stop. Because at the moment he's really struggling, but he'll be on quicker tyres at the end. I'm not sure what's happened with Albon. He's just dropped off 4 seconds. And that's seemingly come out of nowhere, unless Stroll's just gone more aggressively. Right, optimal lap for the pit stop for Latifi. So let's open the pit options. Can he do 16 laps on them, do you reckon? Lap 30 to 36. Do I reckon I can get him to the end on softs? I think I'm pushing it, aren't I? So let's just go on to the mediums. There's no point taking the risk with Latifi. It's more important to finish. And we'll go ahead to time 16. Then if we've got a little bit left over at the end, we'll try and go a bit more aggressive. Albon's closed the gap back to Stroll again. He's now above Latifi, who's pitted. And it's just about the chase. Can he finish above Stroll? Realistically, we're no closer to anything else. Latifi's been a bit closer to the field. But it's still not been anything to shout about. He's nowhere near competitive. Right then, Albon is 1/10 behind. I've paused it with 11 laps to go because I want to take the chance to try and get ahead here. He's got the tyres that will last till the end. So let's go aggressive and let's also try and overtake. We've got to help him here. We've got to try and finish off the back row. It's a confidence booster for the team. Let's go back to it and see if we can get overtaking him. He's gone past Stroll. Can he now build a gap? Let's see if we can pause it again. This is where we have to do the management, isn't it? Is overriding that sort of stuff. What we're going to then do is just put him back into defend mode. I know it's going to use a little bit more per lap, but his fuel's really comfortable at the moment. And he's only 7 seconds behind Vettel. I mean, maybe it's worth a chase in the end. But we'll leave him on aggressive to the end of the race because there's no need for him to do anything else at the minute. Latifi, is there any point? I mean, we might as well put him on aggressive. He's got a bit of fuel to burn. Both drivers going relatively aggressively. Not a lot happening really. Albon's not closing the gap. And in fact, Stroll's just passed him again. He's really close. It's snip and tuck there, to be honest. I don't know how that one's going to finish. But Latifi is now 15 seconds behind. Stroll's doing his very best here. And we'll wait till the final lap to try and intervene a little bit. We have got 3 laps remaining. There was an instant there, but every car is going to finish the second race in a row. And Stroll's now 7 seconds behind after a lockup. Excellent. We don't have to take the risks. Into the final lap we go. Albon 11 seconds behind Vettel. We're no closer to the rest of the field. But he has done a lot better. And Latifi is only half a second behind Stroll. He's taken him. Go on, Nick. Let's see what we can do with his battery to help him out. He might have just saved his seat here. We're going to put him on defend for the rest of this lap. I just want to try and give him the opportunity to not finish last. Be an incredible effort if he can do it. Another driver's over the line. First place is taken. Let's just skip through to the end. Can he hold off Stroll? Half a second in it towards the end. Come on, Nick. He's done it. By a 1/10 of a second. Brilliant stuff from Nicholas Latifi. He doesn't finish last. He saves his seat. Albon, though, still a long way up the road. Excellent effort from him. We don't have a car in 20th place. And that, considering everyone finished, is an achievement for me. I can see why most people were binning off Stroll. But Latifi has delivered a little bit of a result there. I'm really happy to see him get that. Let's go through. We'll have a look at the scouting options anyway. But let's just finish off the classification. So the 2 Ferraris at the top this time with Verstappen down to 3rd. For us, though, it is 18th and 19th. With Lance Stroll finishing bottom of the field. Still no progress towards the rest of it, but we'll get there. We'll get there given time. Let's continue through there. We are still 10th in the Constructors, of course. Nicholas Latifi has picked up a little more, and Albon has picked up a fair amount. So hopefully we can start to improve them soon. Let's go and have a look at the other options for the seat, though. Time to review the Scouting Centre in F1 Manager. Right, first update we return to. The other suspension has been manufactured. That can now go on to the second car of Latifi. And we are back with inbox items. Updating circuit data. A difficult race again. Post-race review we don't need to worry about. Let's go to the car setup and get this on car 1 as well. It's now on both, which is an upgrade for Latifi's car. Not enough to make up the 10 seconds, but still... it's a start. What I wanted to show you before we go, though, because we are going to have to make a decision at some point, is this driver scouting centre. So both contracts are expiring at the end of the year. Couple more races, and I'll probably go and have a look at extending Albon's, because he's really impressed me. In terms of Latifi, if we go along to the contractual bits here, we can either renew his contract, or we can scout for a replacement. So scouting cost and breaking the contract is going to be there. Find suitable candidates for the role, then send your scouts undercover for any information that might be useful. That's what we're going to do. We're going to scout for a replacement. We're going to see what sort of ratings we get. Can we sort them in rating order? Please say we can. Yes, we can. So, we're not going to be able to scout the ones that are in a seat. What I want to know is who's not competing at the moment. Is anyone else free who's not involved? And anyone who's maybe a reserve driver, so like Nico Hülkenberg, he's rated better as well. I feel 76 is a little harsh on him, to be honest. So, of the drivers in F1, is he the worst rated, Latifi? He must be. He definitely seems to be there. So, let's go up further and see who else is about. I don't think any of the 80 pluses are not in one of the main cars. So, I think the best option available is either Giovinazzi, Hülkenberg, or going a bit further down, looking at perhaps an F2 driver of the same rating who's a bit younger. I think the one that we're probably most likely to look at is maybe Giovinazzi based on his rating. So I don't want to propose a contract yet. I'd like to scout him if possible. So let's do standard scouting for 10 days. Show the growth potential and aggression of drivers. I think that's fine. So we're going to go and have a look at Giovinazzi. Hopefully he'll want to join. Maybe a seat in F1 will be enough to entice him. Antonio Giovinazzi scouted. Everything about me wants to go for Hülkenberg. And I do feel he's been done a little bit there by his rating. But we're not going to do it. We're going to stick with Latifi for now. We'll see what that scout report comes back as next time. So we have got through the second race and we didn't finish last on the grid, which was nice. Still got a long way to go as we head to Australia next. Another track that probably won't suit us too well. If we have a look at the calendar, should we have 2 weeks off before that? I think we will. Yes, we do. So we are going to be back in 2 weeks' time Will we have a new driver because the scout report is due the day before? Will it be Giovinazzi or will it be Latifi alongside Albon? I hope you'll come and join me to find out. If you did enjoy this one, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Let me know if you think we're making any progress, or am I being too harsh on Nick Latifi? Subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on to find out what we do next time. And while you wait for that, there's all the other key links up in the eye above, as well as all my social medias and other platforms in the description below. But a massive thank you for watching, it is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you next time as we head to Australia for the Melbourne Grand Prix.